My dad gave me some words of wisdom when I started dating. He said, "Son, highly valued men do not tolerate any disrespect, manipulation, or lies from girls or women. Be true to yourself and always be a highly valued man." Bad news, honey. The merger meeting just got rescheduled and I have to leave tomorrow morning and won't be back until late Sunday. I know how important this wedding is to you, especially since you are a bridesmaid. You have to understand, I just got promoted to CFO and I can't miss the meeting because so much depends on it for the company and our future. You'll have to go without me. Sorry. Are you serious? Do you know how long we've been planning this, and now, at the last minute, you're going to cancel it? And will I be there alone? Do you have any idea how awkward this will be for me? Is there really nothing you can do? Can't someone else go instead of you? Vera, this deal is valued at more than $2 billion, and I am heading this project. You know how hard we've been working on this for the last year, and no one else can take my place. Too many people's jobs depend on our success. Sorry. I know it's difficult, and I'll make it up to you with the bonus money we get from this deal. I know you're angry, but I can't help it. I'll be back on Sunday. To say she was angry would be an understatement. She stopped talking to me and told me to sleep in the guest room. No intimacy or sex before my trip. This was not normal. Her coldness and anger were also unusual. I tried to understand, but I couldn't soften her anger, so I packed for the trip and slept in the guest room that night. I knew the wedding was important to her because of all the struggles her lifelong friend Carol had gone through. Her ex-husband cheated on her during her life-threatening illness and left her because he couldn't bear to watch her slowly die. He acted cowardly. This devastated Carol and did nothing to improve her situation. But after a miraculous recovery, Carol filed for divorce due to abandonment and lived in depression for the next 5 years. All her friends and family were by her side and tried to cheer her up, but to no avail. Then one day, she met a guy at the grocery store and her world blossomed. She became herself again. The prayers of her friends and family were answered, and everyone wanted to celebrate the joyful occasion. Brandon, her financier, loved her deeply and planned this amazing wedding. Vera was her best friend and bridesmaid. She was with her friend all the time. I knew it was important for Vera, and I didn't want to cancel, but I couldn't help it. I knew that I would have to make amends to her and somehow come to terms with her anger. Before leaving for my trip the next morning, I tried to kiss Vera goodbye, but the door to our bedroom was locked and she had no intention of opening it for me. I told her I loved her and would call her when I landed in Germany. Having received no answer, I sadly walked to the waiting limousine, which took me to the airport. I felt terrible and miserable because of her actions and lack of understanding of my situation. After 19 years of marriage, I expected more tolerance and care. I called her before the flight, but her cell phone went straight to voicemail. I left her a message apologizing again, hoping for a response. I sent another message before takeoff and another when I landed 10 hours later. Still no response, no voicemails, no text messages. I knew she was angry and that I would have to apologize profusely to win her back. With no other choice, I called our twin girls at college and told them about my trip and how my work plans had changed, that their mom was angry with me and wouldn't answer my calls. I asked them not to say anything and just check on her to make sure she was okay, that I was worried about her and that I would feel much better if they could tell me that she was okay. They understood and told me they loved me. They were always Daddy's girls, and I loved them very much. In Germany, after getting to the hotel, I called my CEO to get an update, and to my horror, the meeting had just been canceled because the CEO of another company had a family member die, and the meeting would have to be rescheduled. I immediately called the airline and booked a direct flight to Chicago, which was only 30 minutes from the ceremony site. Since the wedding reception started at 7 p.m., I figured I could get there by 9 p.m. and be a good husband. I was sure this would make her happy. After I rented a car, the GPS told me how to get to the reception hall. It was just after 9 when I entered the reception, and the celebration was in full swing. The music was loud, everyone was dancing, and the alcohol was flowing. There were a lot of drunk people having fun and enjoying the celebration. It was truly a joyful event, and I was happy that I was able to attend and really wanted to be with my wife. There were over 200 people at the reception, and I was unable to see Vera when I entered. I walked up to the open bar and ordered a double bourbon, stepped aside, and scanned the crowd for my wife. I thought about our past and how we got here. Vera was 5 years older than me and recently divorced when we met. Her ex-husband, Dr. Clayton Adams, was a resident at Mercy Hospital when they divorced. Dr. Clayton, as he liked to be called, was caught cheating with one of the nurses at the hospital. When Vera found out about this, she kicked him out, devastated by his betrayal. She wanted children and a happy life, but this asshole ruined her dreams. She divorced him, and after the divorce she was depressed and penniless, because the locals didn't make much money and the divorce just divided their property. She became a waitress and barely made ends meet. Thanks to this episode in her life, she knew firsthand how Carol felt. When I met Vera, it was love at first sight. I fell head over heels in love with this woman. She may have been broken and depressed, but I knew she was a diamond in the rough. I saw her obvious beauty, but fell in love with her heart and her caring nature. I saved her from herself, turned her life upside down, and gave her 19 wonderful years filled with the love of our twin girls. Vera liked my serious attitude towards relationships. We constantly discussed fidelity and commitment, and it made her feel safe. I made it clear to her that I was a faithful partner and would never, ever, ever tolerate cheating. And I praised her for leaving her cheating husband, no matter how difficult it was. I explained that many people would put up with this to save a marriage or stay financially secure, and I was proud of her ability to move on. This was the basis of our marriage: trust, loyalty, and determination. Before this damn wedding, I lived a wonderful life, completely satisfied and in love. Vera looked great for 44, but I was 5 years younger and in great shape. In fact, at the age of 39, I was in my prime. Thanks to my constant gym workouts and 5K runs, I was at peak performance. She had an amazing body, and we were great in bed. Our age difference was not a problem, and we rarely discussed it over the years. We raised 2 wonderful twin girls, Marcia and Carrie, who were now in college 4 hours away from home. They were happy and enjoying student life while preparing for their future. We had a great family and a stable marriage, or so I thought until I saw my wife sitting alone with Clayton, her ex-husband. I knew that Clayton was a friend of Carol, the bride, but I didn't expect him to be at the wedding, let alone that he would be there alone, without his wife. Tired from the journey and intrigued by what I saw, I stood and watched them sitting alone. I was shocked at how friendly they were about their history. I decided to watch for a few minutes to see exactly what they were doing. It didn't take long for my world to fall apart. I was about to walk up to them and interrupt their love fest, but before I could make my move, she stood up, took his hand, and led him to the dance floor. She looked amazing in that tight ivory dress, and my heart went out to her, praying it was nothing more than a dance. Her swagger shocked me as they danced to a few slow songs. I sipped my drink and waited to see what would happen next. I could tell Vera was drunk by the way she was flirting, which wasn't uncommon after a few drinks. She always got excited and flirted with me, which was normal. What was abnormal was that she kissed another man who was not me, and did it openly in front of her friends. Everyone knew that she was married to me, and this pissed me off even more. I felt humiliated and angry watching my wife lavish her love. Still frozen in shock, my blood was now boiling as I watched him openly grab her ass and kiss her, and she responded in kind. My anger grew, and when I was about to go up to them and separate them, they went back to the table and sat on the side. They started kissing like a couple on their honeymoon, and I could clearly see his hands on her breasts and her hand under the table. Just before I was about to confront them, I realized that my marriage was over. I remembered my father's words. Respectable men do not tolerate disrespect, and I decided to take action, but without resorting to violence. I could cause a scene, disrupt the perfect wedding ceremony, stop them and prevent further developments, But why? I figured if she wanted it, she could take it. She's not mine anymore. With strange calm, I took out my phone, zoomed in, and took some close-up photos, a short video, and then sent her a text message. Great news, honey. The meeting was postponed and I'm back, but it looks like you're in good hands today. I'm coming home, and I assume you'll be spending the night with Dr. Clayton. Now I understand why you didn't answer my calls and text messages. Well, have fun and enjoy the demise of our marriage. Tomorrow, when you return home, I will no longer be there. I pressed send and watched quietly, wondering if she would pick up her phone and read the text. As I watched, I saw an incoming message notification light up on her phone. She saw that it was on fire on the table and picked up the phone. She then started pressing some buttons, apparently looking for a message. Vera seemed to sober up quickly as I saw her expression turn serious. As soon as I saw her reaction, I walked from the front desk to my car. Vera must have panicked and saw me leaving, but I ran outside before she could get to me. As I opened my car door, I heard her scream, "Tony, please wait." After giving her a cold look, I simply shook my head, got into my car, and drove out of the parking lot before she could get to me. My phone immediately started ringing, but I was unable to answer the call, let alone speak to her. If she wanted to be with her ex, then it's over between us. Damn, after what I just saw, it was over between us anyway. 22 years after divorcing this cheating asshole, she rushes back into his arms at the first opportunity. Well, she will have to explain everything to her family and children because it is all on her conscience. Dozens of crazy SMS messages started arriving on my phone. "Tony, please come back. Let me explain. I love you. Please come back." Damn it, Tony! Nothing was as it seemed. I love you. But after 2 days of 10-hour flights, 2 days of no return calls or messages, the cold shoulder, and watching her with Clayton, I was in no mood to listen to her apology. In fact, I was as angry as ever and wanted nothing to do with her or her bullshit. After 20 phone calls and messages, I stopped and sent her one message back. The text I sent read, "Fuck you. My job was going great. My kids were in college that was already funded, and I had nothing tying me down. I was still young enough to start over. After 4 hours of the 7-hour drive back to Nashville, I stopped at a diner to grab something to eat and take a nap in the car before continuing on home. As I ate my bacon and eggs, I decided to let the world know exactly how I felt. At that time, Facebook was the most popular social network where everyone went and shared news about their lives. Between snacks, I changed my Facebook status from happily married to single. I then posted 2 photos I took of Vera and Clayton kissing deeply at the wedding. In the second photo, everyone could clearly see his hand on her chest. Under the photo, I explained that Vera was bargaining and returning to her ex-husband, and that now I was back on the market. Yes, it was immature, but in my opinion, it was true. I moved on without her. The funny thing is that Clayton, her ex, was almost 50 years old. He was bald, overweight, and without trying to appear vain, was not an upgrade in any sense of the word. What the hell was she thinking, leaving us for some old, worn-out dude who had already cheated on her? Maybe she wanted to be with a doctor and not an accountant. Honestly, it hurt. In fact, it was very painful. At that moment, I felt more pain than I could ever remember. I was sad and angry, but it also made me laugh at the ridiculous situation. She was ruining her 19-year marriage for an old man who cheated on her more than 20 years ago. He can have her, and they deserve each other. I wasn't the kind of guy who put up with that kind of disrespect. I'm sure there are a lot of guys who would say that it was just a kiss and a few touches, and that there's no reason to leave her. Sorry, but in my world, either my woman is committed to me, or she is free to be with someone else. We all live with our choices. After a late breakfast and a 2-hour nap in the car, I was back on the road and pulled into my driveway at 7 a.m. When I turned on my phone, it started ringing with dozens of notifications. So many came that I didn't think they would ever stop. There must have been over 100 messages from her, her parents, her sister, and friends. 5 minutes after turning on the phone, it began to ring. And I noticed that it was Vera. I wondered if she had gotten any sleep last night or if she had spent it with Clayton. No matter, I just ignored her calls because it was all in the past now, and I was only focused on getting what I needed out of the house and moving on. I got along well with her family, and when they called me that morning, I answered their call and explained to her father what had happened. James, I had no idea that she was unhappy with our marriage, but cheating was a fatal blow to our happy life. The disrespect she showed in front of people we know was something I can't live with. No, it was obvious that she still had feelings for this asshole, and now she could be with him. I intend to find a woman who will appreciate what I have to offer and remain faithful. James, I have no other choice. I'm moving out today and putting the house on the market immediately. Tomorrow morning I will contact a lawyer to file for divorce. She can live here until the house is sold, and I will treat her fairly in the divorce. Call me old-fashioned, but I won't live with a woman who wants to be with someone else. She made her choice, but I don't believe she acted wisely this time. James arrived an hour later and begged me to wait and talk to her before crossing the border. After he asked me to give her a chance to explain herself, I told him to look at that photo again and see how they openly fondled each other at the wedding. I would never have put up with that, and doing that to her ex was just another slap in the face to me. Her father was disappointed with her actions and my decision to act so quickly and decisively. As I walked into our home, I felt myself tear up, realizing that our happy home was no longer a home, but a shell of our marriage. We've spent the last 5 years transforming our home into the perfect retreat. At the time, mortgage rates were below 2.99%, and the value of our home doubled. As an account holder, I decided to refinance the house at full price and took almost $500,000 of equity out of the house. I immediately set up a trust fund of $200,000 for each girl's college and a little more to give them a good start in life. We took the remaining $100,000 and remodeled the house into a show casa that we loved and were proud of. Thanks to the lower interest rate, the monthly payment was only $1,700 per month, higher than before we raised capital. It was not difficult, and Vera returned to work as a secretary to compensate for the additional monthly payment. I had a good salary. Nothing crazy, but as the newly appointed CFO, next year I was set to receive stock options that would become our pension fund. Vera was never involved or interested in our finances as long as she got what she wanted, trusted my financial knowledge, and lived a comfortable life. I tried several times to explain what stock options were, but I saw her eyes glaze over and I still didn't fully understand. Since it didn't matter, I just laughed to myself at her lack of interest. It's okay, I was happy for our future. This merger, which apparently coincided with the end of my marriage, would have netted me a bonus of stock options in the range of 40,000 shares if successful. Of course, I would have to wait several years to exercise the options. But waiting for the stock price to reach $100 per share gave me confidence in the future. Because the merger was on hold, the options would not have been part of the divorce settlement. I was going to file a declaration of irreconcilable differences and simply divide our assets. This amounted to about $50,000 in our savings account. We would have split the sale of the house, but being fully leveraged meant there would have been nothing to split. At age 44, Vera would walk away with her car and $25,000. If she had remained faithful, she would have lived a happy life with a secure future. Her world was about to be rocked as my anger and humiliation overshadowed all the loving feelings and memories that were buried deep within my soul. All I wanted now was revenge and for her to understand what she gave up. Vera said that I haven't seen Clayton in 20 years, and it brought back so many memories, both good and bad. He was a good husband until he cheated on me and ended our marriage. We always had chemistry and great sex, but he couldn't compare to Tony. My husband was much more handsome, a great lover, and I love him dearly. But why am I sitting here with Clayton and letting him touch me and kiss me? I know it was wrong, but I continued to flirt. I definitely had too much to drink, but Tony had to be here. God, I should have been smarter and stopped this, but it feels so good. For some reason, he still felt like a soulmate, and a little flirting wouldn't hurt anyone. Besides, Clayton is now divorced, and Tony couldn't be bothered to change his trip to be here with me where he belongs. He knew how important this wedding was to me, so I think I owe it to myself to have a little fun. After another kiss, I felt warmer inside. I remembered those kisses and felt the memories of our past love come flooding back, and I felt uneasy about what I felt inside while he hugged me in the dance. We can play a little here in this secluded place. Everyone is drunk, and I'm sure no one will see us. Just a little kissing and touching, nothing more. I'll make peace with Tony when he returns. A text message is flashing on my phone. All my friends are here. Maybe Tony is checking. Oh my God. Tony says he's here. I do not see him. Wait, is he leaving now? Damn it. I have to get to him. Did he just see me kissing Clayton? Damn, this is bad. Turning to the embarrassed Clayton, I said, "Excuse me, I need to go to the ladies' room," desperately running out of the reception area. I saw the exit door in the hallway close and ran as fast as I could in my high heels. Oh God, it's Tony and he saw me with Clayton. Tony, please wait. There was no answer, and he just got into his car. I tried to run after him, but he left. Now he doesn't answer calls. How many text messages have I sent to him and he doesn't respond? He's angry, and I don't blame him. After several more calls and dozens of messages, my heart broke when I finally received his only response. Fuck you. Two of my friends found me kneeling outside in the bitter cold and asked what happened. When I explained this to them, they were shocked by my actions and worried that I had been caught. They know Tony is a tough guy, and if he saw us together, I'd be in trouble. After packing my things at my home in Nashville at 10 a.m., I sat at the kitchen table and drank the last cup of coffee in the home we were creating together. I was filled with sadness and anger as I put the empty cup in the sink. I left a short note on the table asking her not to call me and that we would talk as soon as the divorce papers were ready. I didn't bother signing the note and just placed my wedding ring on top of the paper. Before I left for the last time, I opened my laptop and split our funds and also canceled our joint credit card after paying off the balance. From today, she was left to her own devices. If she was fighting a divorce, she could just pay all the bills herself. There was no way she could afford her mortgage or utilities. The house would be in demand and would sell quickly at the right price. If she had not resisted the divorce, we could have quickly ended this sham marriage, and she could have returned to her beloved Clayton. I left my former refuge for a dark, unknown new world. I later heard from my friends at the wedding that after I left, Vera was in despair. They couldn't get her to stop crying until she finally passed out from drinking and exhaustion from uncontrollable sobs. Her friends felt terrible and were worried about Vera. They called me several times, leaving voicemails and text messages asking me to call back. To prevent her from ruining the wedding reception, the girls took her back to her hotel room, put her to bed, and checked on her several times that night. When she woke up early in the morning and remembered what happened, she tried to call me again and again, begging me to forgive her, and please call me. I wanted nothing to do with her after what I witnessed and never returned her calls or messages. On Sunday morning, Vera woke up with a severe hangover and fear of divorce. She arrived home at noon, and her dad met her at the airport. She later learned that Tony told her father that he wouldn't pick her up and she needed a ride. Judging by her father's worried expression, she must have looked terrible. Her dad was her rock, and when she saw him there, she ran to him and hugged him, sobbing into his shoulder. "Dad, I screwed up and I think Tony's going to leave me." With a sad face, he quietly said to his suffering little girl, "I talked to him this morning, and it doesn't look good. You know Tony. What the hell were you thinking? And with Clayton? I don't know what I did. I was drunk and angry at Tony because he didn't come to the wedding. I know I screwed up, but he needs to forgive me, Daddy. I never even had sex with him." "Honey, judging by the photos I saw, you might as well have had sex with him. I'm not sure he's the kind of guy who forgives too quickly. You know Tony, and the fact that you were with another man the way you were in those photos was cheating on him." When she walked into the house, she prayed that Tony would be there waiting for her, but knowing Tony, she knew he was long gone. She spent the rest of the day in tears, holding out her hand to Tony's cell phone, hoping that he would at least talk to her and give her a chance to apologize. She realized the irony of cheating on Tony with the man who cheated on her so many years ago. Tony, the only man she loved and the life she cherished, seemed to be destroyed in the blink of an eye, as evidenced by his wedding ring and the short note left on the table. In the meantime, I moved into a company apartment used for out-of-town clients. Since no one was planning to use the apartment, I called my general manager and he agreed for me to stay there after I told him the story. My CEO, Bill, is a good friend, and he went through something similar many years ago. In fact, he suggested that I set aside options for this year to save for the future. The next day, I walked into my office on the 16th floor. There was no way Vera would get past security if she came to my place of work, and I gave strict instructions to security to escort her out of the building if she showed up. They were doing a good job, and when she did show up on Monday, she was told there would be no interaction at work. She desperately tried to talk to me, but I wanted nothing to do with her. She didn't know where I was staying and I didn't answer her calls. She was completely isolated, angry with herself, lonely and afraid for her future. Worried about their mother, I received several frantic calls from my girls. They begged me to talk to their mother. I explained that their mother had made the decision to be with another man, and everyone knew how I felt about cheating. Before they began to protest, I explained that what she did was treason, in my opinion. My girls knew better than to argue with me and respected my decision. I calmly tried to explain that their mother chose another man over me and I no longer had any obligations to her and our divorce was inevitable, but I would always be there for them and wanted to keep them in my life. I told them to remember this when they were married and to never disrespect their husband or cheat on him because most men would not tolerate that level of disrespect. Funny things happened after my Facebook post. Apart from all my friends and relatives calling me asking for an explanation, I became popular among the ladies. Suddenly, I was in the market and talking to women much younger and with more energy and enthusiasm than I had had in the past few years. The whining and complaints from Vera disappeared, replaced by increased sex, love SMS messages, and constant pursuit of cheerful girls. A month later, I met my future wife, Cheryl, and we quickly got together a few months after the divorce was finalized. Vera was upset when she learned about my new lifestyle, mostly angry at herself, but jealous and angry at me for not giving her another chance before the divorce. I refused all her requests for a meeting and communicated with her only through lawyers. In the end, the house sold quickly. After paying real estate fees and closing costs, there was less than $1,000 in equity left, which I directed to be given to Vera. The lawyer vigorously argued for my options, but the court ruled that they could not indicate possible future earnings and used my average income to enter into a settlement agreement. Since Vera worked, paying alimony would not be difficult, and I finally agreed to support her for 2 years at $2,000 a month. Not an extremely lucrative sum, but enough for Vera to survive until she gets back on her feet or finds another sucker to marry her, but it won't be me. In subsequent years, I never spoke to Vera and communicated only through our lawyers. She eventually moved to Chicago, where she had friends and a support group. With no other prospects, she moved in with the aging Dr. Clayton. She would never be the same happy woman as she was with me and realized that she gave in because of her anger and selfishness. It's not that she didn't know how I would react, but she made the wrong decision. She never had sex with him that night, but she knew me and still made the wrong decision and acted like a lonely woman on the hunt. We actually met at our girls' prom 3 years later. Vera had tears in her eyes when she met my 28-year-old pregnant wife, Cheryl, and our 1-year-old daughter, Jolene. Vera was now about 47 years old, and the years had been unkind to her. She was accompanied by Dr. Clayton, who wisely kept his distance. Later that day, Vera was finally alone with me. "Tony, you never gave me a chance to apologize. I should have known better. Not a day goes by that I remember the stupid things I did that weekend. We had everything, and I gave it all up for nothing. You were the perfect husband, and I miss the wonderful life we had together. Vera, this is in the past, and I forgive you. Yes, I never thought that you would be in his arms while I was away working on our future. But I really need to thank you. You gave me 19 wonderful years and 2 wonderful girls. I will always love you for this. Faith, the truth is that because of your betrayal, I found Cheryl, and starting a new family with Jolene and our new baby girl allowed me to settle the anger I harbored towards you. You need to take care of yourself and live for your future. Our past is just the past. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing you at the girls' future life events. Just then, Cheryl came up to me with our daughter in her arms, and I introduced them. The age difference was obvious. At 47, Vera could have been Cheryl's mother, and Vera once again felt sorry for losing the man she loved to a night of anger and selfish actions. Over the next 10 years, we met at girls' weddings. She never married, but continued to live with Clayton, who treated her well. Seeing me with my new family and 2 little girls brought back so many fond memories. Now, the happy life she once enjoyed is gone forever, and she will end up living a quiet life filled with regret for lost loves and good times. As a final act of revenge, that summer, after my stock options were exercised, I bought my old house, which was back on the market. All my family and friends, with the exception of Vera, were excited about the return of the old house with so many memories associated with it. My girls loved visiting us and reminiscing about their time growing up in our loving home. It's a pity that Vera chose a different path. She would love to be here and live the life we planned together. But life goes on, and I am enjoying creating a new life and new memories with my wonderful wife and my little girls. Rule to live by. Before you do anything bad to me, make sure you never need me again. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.